Earlier, in our module on hero myths, we read the ancient Chinese myth Chai Li slays the serpent. This week, we will read about Chai Li's fellow woman warrior Mulan, also from Chinese mythology, as well as the fierce female Viking Hervor from Norse mythology. Mulan is, of course, the more famous of these two warrior women because she has been the title character of not one, but two Disney movies, an animated movie released in 1998, as well as a live-action version released in 2020. However, despite the differences in their respective levels of fame, Mulan and Hervor have a handful of interesting similarities. In order to earn acceptance in the male-dominated warrior cultures of their respective times and places, both dress as men. And in the myths, both Mulan and Hervor are known to their male comrades by their surnames. That is, in the folk song The Ballad of Mulan, that is her last name, not her first name. And Hervor calls herself Hervard during her early adventures. In the early European tradition, both Mulan and Hervor could have been described by the ancient Latin term virago. Originally, this was a positive word, defined as a woman who demonstrated heroic characteristics. Often, though, it was associated with the transgression of cultural gender roles, such as, say, a woman who dresses as a man and rides into battle. In more modern times, folks troubled by those cultural gender transgressions made virago a negative term instead. So much so, the first definition of the word in dictionaries such as Merriam-Webster's is something along the lines of a loud, overbearing woman. Its contradicting original meaning, along the lines of a woman of great stature, strength, and courage, is typically listed as its second definition. In our discussion of the myths The Ballad of Mulan and The Waking of Agantyr, we'll talk about the ways in which Mulan and Hervor choose to challenge the gender norms of their respective patriarchal cultures. And we'll look at their relationships with their literal patriarchs, that is, with their fathers. In The Ballad of Mulan, she is the daughter of a living father and chooses to join the army in his place. In The Waking of Agantyr, Hervor is the daughter of a dead father and demands his ghost to give her the magical sword with which he was buried so she can carry it into battle. In our discussions, we'll debate if these actions on their parts support an interpretation that Mulan and or Hervor are fighting the patriarchy, or if they instead support an interpretation that Mulan and or Hervor are in fact fighting for the patriarchy. Whatever interpretation we settle on at the end of that debate, I doubt that after reading The Ballad of Mulan and The Waking of Agantyr, any of you will argue against the assertion that these two warrior women are fascinating mythological characters.